that what we're gonna do? Squiddy, squid, squid.
Squid, squid, squid.
Squid, squid. Does it spew ink too?
Yeah. Oh God, I wish. Oh, it's so soft.
You know what? I'm sure we can get some pens and like just put some ink.
Yeah, just put some ink right in there. A weird little hole. Hi guys.
Hi guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight on this episode of Cinema Bias, where we challenge each other to watch movies outside our comfort zone every single week. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we're going to be diving into a really great movie. Drew, oh my gosh, girl. I feel like I haven't seen you forever, even though it only has been a week. How are you?
It's been so long since Ed Wood. I'm doing well, Alex. I'm really excited to do this movie. This was your pick. This was not something that I suggested, but in retrospect, it seems like a very Drew movie. It seems like it seems like it's something that I would have picked for you. It is so scary, but I loved it.
Yeah, this movie in particular there's a lot of horror aspects. This is an animated movie. This is also the first Studio Ghibli movie that we're covering on Cinema Bias. So I'm excited. I'm ecstatic to cover this tonight. And I'm not going to go into whether or not you liked it or not or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So if you can't tell already by the thumbnail or any of that or descriptions, we are covering the Studio Ghibli's only Oscar-winning film, which is a travesty in itself. It is Spirited Away.
Yes.
The supernatural fantasy tale released in 2002 or something?
I think 2001, 2002. 2002 sounds right. I don't remember what it won the Oscar for.
Yeah, it was around there. I feel like every movie, how Miyazaki makes that formal announcement, he's saying that he's going to retire. And then he's like, just kidding. I got inspired taking a walk in the forest. I want to make another movie. And that's how we pretty much have Spirited Away. All right. But Drew, I want to know specifically. It was 2001. Good to know. Thank you so much, Sean. What is your bias, girl? Why haven't you watched one of the most beloved animated movies in history?
That's on me, dog. Real quick, I just want to say the Streamlabs are open tonight. So if you guys want to send in donations, tips, send in super chats, send in whatever, you can go to streamlabs.com/VideoDREW. It's right there on the bottom of the screen. It's also Delia sent it in. So yeah, guys, just send in whatever. And because we'll just keep talking about this movie. We can have some fun goals, but we'll just keep talking about Studio Ghibli forever. My bias is I don't really have an animated movie. I'm not anti-animated movies. They're great, but I'm not one of these people that needs to see the Pixar films or needs to see Moana. Now that I'm an adult, when I do see them, I usually get very excited. And then I'm 3 years late to Moana and I'm singing thank you. I've just discovered it. Or it takes me 2 years to see Frozen, but I'm you guys see Frozen? It's fucking amazing. Do you want to build a castle? It's fucking mind-blowing.
You want to build a snowman, actually? But...
you want to build a snowman, you're right. Or Let It Go, that other song from there. Can't wait for Frozen 2 to come out in 5 years, Drew time. But so I just have a thing where I think maybe it's just sort of I have no reason. I don't have any kids. I don't, when this movie hit, it was 2001, right? So yeah, it's the same year Mulholland Drive hit, and I think I decided to see that instead. I just animated movies. Anime movies, I've never been a huge anime fan. Although I weirdly love My Neighbor Totoro. That's one of the best movies of all time. So why I haven't gone through and checked out the rest of the Ghibli films, I don't know. That's just on me, dog. That's on me.
Well, it sounds overall, like you said, that animated movies, you're kind of late to the party when it comes to the animated genre in particular. And I do feel a lot of people, not just you, but a lot of people in general have a hard time casually coming across Studio Ghibli if they weren't directly introduced to it intentionally. I am with you, or if a family member or a friend or something does intentionally be hey, this is my favorite Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, whatever it might be. It's my favorite movie ever.
Howard's Moving Castle, as I called it.
Howard's Moving Castle. Oh.
But no, I asked Eric. I was have you seen Howard's Moving Castle? And he was it's not Howard. And I was it's not Howard.
It's Howl?
What is it? It's Howl. I did not know. I thought it was Howard's Moving Castle.
Moving Castle.
Howard. I don't know, my coffee, Howard. I don't know.
Oh, it's a learning experience as long as you get corrected and you make proper adjustments. That's what matters. Now, with that being said, like you said, you're very new to not only animation but to Studio Ghibli. So going into this, and I know you said you saw My Neighbor Totoro. Did you really know about Studio Ghibli as a studio? Did you know of it? Did you know it's beloved, or did you not know it at all?
By the way, this thing is so soft. This thing is so freaking soft. I love it. I know I'm not trying to rub it in your face, but this thing is just so squishy and soft. It's like made for love.
Stop tempting me. I want to reach through the screen.
Oh, so good. This was supposed to be Jen Kemp, by the way, when I had my match against her. This was going to be her as a meme queen. I don't know why. I just thought that would be funny, but then I just never used it, and it's just now it's mine. But yeah, so what my thing is against, not against Studio Ghibli, I definitely knew it was a thing. And I definitely always thought, like, Drew, this seems like it could be for you. Because, like, again, I love Neighbor Totoro. Remember that cat bus? That cat bus was crazy. And, like, I love the idea of, like, big, crazy things that exist. Like, it's very, in a way, it's very Twin Peaks, which is, like, my favorite thing in the world. Like, his movies, as far as I can see, between this and Totoro or Totoro, I don't know how to pronounce it, between the two of them, the movies are like basically about like entities that exist like that around us. Like they're not like from heaven or hell. They're just like entities. They're like otherworldly spirits or beings or like, they're these forces that work. Yes. Yeah, they're like God, whatever you want to call them, but they're not like, it's not a Judeo-Christian like viewpoint of them. It's not like this is like, this is the good one that lives in heaven and the bad one that lives in hell. It's like they all like live together and they all have personalities that are like their own and they talk or they don't talk or like, this one in particular, well, I don't want to get ahead of it, but like, Totoro is like so great because he never talks, but it's like this big, what is it? It's like a cat. It's like a cat dog.
Thing.
It's like with the ears.
I don't even know what it is. But
I don't know what Totoro is.
It's a nature cat spirit that helps grow trees and helps heal the hearts of children.
I fucking love it. Like, and then he has, but there's a cat bus, and the cat bus can get bigger or smaller to like accept the size of its passengers. And like, isn't that all we've wanted in the world? Like, our entire lives is just a cat bus to get bigger and smaller as the size of the passengers increases.
Yeah, I mean, well, like you said, there's a definite element of darkness and drama in a lot of these movies that are really, with this front of, beautiful animation, and that all the characters are a heavy majority of the protagonists in Studio Ghibli movies are children, especially females. Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, Nausicaa, etc. I can only think of maybe 2, maybe 3 where protagonists are young men. But there's a lot of darkness in not only the themes, but also some elements of the aesthetic, the drama, the color palettes even. And some of the characters have some of this real underlying darkness to the characters, darkness in the plot that are really disguised really, really well in a movie that's centered on this coming of age story. And
I do want to talk about that. I want to talk about like whether or not this movie is actually for children or not. But like before we do that, why don't we try to get me to tell you the plot of this movie? I bet I can do it.
Yes. That is an important segment. That is also possibly the most important segment. And this is going to be an interesting one. There's a lot to dive into this movie. And are you going to be 60 seconds? All right, girl. You're on the clock. Starting now.
Okay, so this movie is about this girl, Chihiro, and she goes with her parents, and they're going to the new house, and instead they get waylaid at this weird amusement park, and her parents eat all this food, and they turn into pigs, and so she has to work at this bathhouse with all the spirits, and there's like this mean witch spirit. And then there's this guy that's like no face, and she lets him into the bathhouse, and he tries to give her gold, but she won't take the gold. And then she also has this friend named Haku, who's like he turns into a dragon sometimes, and he works for the woman who like changes this girl's name to Sen, so she forgets her name. And then she has to go do some other stuff. There's a giant baby that gets turned into a rat, and like a bird lady thing that is like a helper, but then it gets turned into a tinier bird. And there's also a guy in the basement with who turns magic coal. He turns the soot back into like little guys to throw them into the fire. And so it's like a self-perpetuating system. And then she goes meets the lady's sister to give her back this scroll that like Haku stole. And it turns out it is not Haku at all. He's a river spirit this whole time, and she helps the sludge spirit. I forgot that part. And then she and her parents go home, and that's pretty good. And she falls in love with a river.
Okay, so I'm not gonna criticize what you just said, because everything you just said was true.
Technically correct.
I do think everything was absolutely correct. It was kind of weird. It wasn't so much a summation. It was more like a list of facts about the movie.
Don't forget the sludge spirit.
The sludge. Okay, that was actually the sludge spirit is very real. So essentially, it really focuses on this young girl. She's 10, maybe 12 years old. Her name is Chihiro. Her family is moving to a new town in Japan, and she's moving with her friends. And she's a little spoiled. She's a little bratty. She's 10, 12 years old, and just trying to learn and get her fixing. So they're on their way to the house. They end up getting lost, and they end up stumbling through this passageway in what they think is an abandoned amusement park. Nay. It is not an amusement park. And it ends up being sunset. They are in a place where they shouldn't be at the wrong time. And it ends up turning into this bathhouse that caters to spirits, to gods, essentially. And so, good, bad.
Some of the gods are ducks.
Mm-hmm.
There's like straight up like 20 gods that look like Psyduck.
Okay, yeah. Not to mention, the turnip god is...
The turnip god, guys.
Oh my gosh, remember that?
Yeah, I remember they're all happy. Oh my god, I love it. I forgot to mention that Meg from Hercules is her friend. She's friends with Meg from Hercules.
Yeah, and I can't remember his name. It's Jason something. He
voices or something.
He voices
Goofy movie.
In Lion King's 2. Simba's Pride. He plays Scar's son.
Hot.
I know. It's like Romeo and Juliet with lions.
Wait, really? That's hot. Scar has a son?
I mean, it is. No, it is the animated sequel to the Lion King, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, where it's literally Romeo and Juliet with lions. Mm-hmm.
So it's okay. That's hot. Is he hot? Okay, I don't know.
We're getting way off topic. That is definitely another animated movie for another day. Maybe stay tuned. Maybe that'll be next week. Who knows? So it really
I think NerdChronic also said he was he plays the Goofy's kid from the Goofy movie.
Yes, he does a lot of voice animation work. If you hear it, you're like, that voice sounds super familiar. But it really kind of focuses on the growth. This is a coming-of-age animated tale of this young girl. So she essentially, her parents, they see all this, they smell all this wonderful, delicious food, and they're like, you know what, we're going to pay them as long as we can eat. Little do you know that food. Yeah, they end up eating this food that's not meant for them. That food turns them into massive boars, pigs, because that food was meant exclusively to be eaten by gods, and they're greedy humans. Surprise. And essentially, in order to try to get her parents back, she pretty much sells herself to work at a bathhouse. And it's the process of her the story goes through her going on a series of adventures, trying to not only save her parents, but also escape the bathhouse.
Mm-hmm. And bathhouse, by the way, we should clarify, bathhouse doesn't mean the same thing. Like when we say like sell herself to go work in a bathhouse, you might have an idea that means something solicit, like gross. No, she just goes and works at a bathhouse, and she like bathes spirits. She gives them baths, and there's nothing weird about it.
Like actual,
it's non-sexual.
Bath.
Yeah, they're just regular spirit baths, with like duck spirits and radishes and stuff. Normal.
Well, there was actually when it first came out, there was actually a lot of misunderstanding surrounded the bathhouse. A lot of people actually theorized that because Hayao Miyazaki is nothing if not all about symbolism, especially he's pushing he's very aggressive with his ideas on environmentalism and everything, obviously. It's a huge theme throughout his movies. But there was a lot of people actually theorized this actually was themed specifically on living in a brothel, in the sex trade and sex trafficking.
Wait, it was?
like if you look it up, a lot of people, especially here, if you look it up, a lot of people thought it was symbolic of sex trafficking.
Hey, NerdChronic, everyone else like, this is a weirdly sexual movie. NerdChronic's in the audience. I was like, this movie is weirdly sexual. Okay, I'm glad.
They trick her parents. She's trying to find a way. Yeah, she's constantly trying to find. You need to like go through these mazes. It's a whole thing. And there is, like you said, there is this kind of misrepresentation, this idea of a bathhouse and what it really means. You know, especially here in the US and what we kind of think it means. So yeah, there was kind of this interesting idea. It's like, oh, and only the pretty girls are the ones that actually work inside the actual bathhouse, you know, versus the like quote unquote like unattractive girls, like the humans, for example. They are doing stuff like they're cooking and they're doing this other stuff where they're out of sight. So there's this kind of image situation going on, but there's a lot to kind of dive into this movie.
Hey, that's not fair, NerdChronic. Just because I think Blind King is a very sexual. Just because this piggy is the most sexy Muppet.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I'm putting my thirst trap read on everything these days. I dare you to find one thing that I cannot find, like find a weird thirst trap read of.
Yo, I feel you.
Miss Piggy's the most sexual Muppet. Just gonna feel.
Oh no, she is a girl like Miss Piggy.
She is a strangely sexual Muppet.
Very much so.
Wait, is this from the same movie, or is this from the Moving Castle one, or is this from a video game?
This is Spirited Away. This is actually just like a Lego setup. This is actually not actually like a clip from it. This is just like a Lego thing. Thing is, this movie is incredibly beloved internationally. It made, before even getting to the US, it was the highest grossing film of Japan up until this year, 2020. It's actually the only anime-based film to ever win an Oscar.
Yeah, what did it win an Oscar for?
It won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
Gotcha. Okay.
And to date, Hayao Miyazaki has never won an Oscar or been nominated for Best Director.
Sucks. No.
Hurts my soul.
Yeah, because it's all like hand animated, right? Like it's all hand animated cells. I think that's something NerdChronic was saying, which means that like every time I'll be honest, I don't really understand like how animation process works. Like people start describing it to me. They're like, every picture, everything is a still picture, and then somebody comes and draws like the next frame of that picture, and then but my brain just kind of shuts down at the idea of that. Like the idea of the tediousness of doing that just like sort of breaks my brain, and I just forget that that's like how it's done. It seems so unnecessary. It seems so extra.
It is, like you said, it's an incredibly tedious job. And a lot of Studio Ghibli movies in particular, they have stayed loyal to the idea that things must be hand-drawn. And up until Studio Ghibli, they made their first CGI film very recently. It's going to be like released like next year or something like that. I saw a trailer and I was not happy. I was like, what is this? I don't want it. You know, but Ghibli movies, but especially this one has a stunning visuals. So Drew, is there any like pictures or anything that really kind of stood out to you from this?
I mean, I would just say this is like I think all the thingies, all the spirits. Oh my God. Like I love the idea of like, of multiple god spirits, whatever, like entities. Like I love the idea of like entities that don't look like us. And these entities, they all look like Pokemon. They were all like giant Pokemon, and they were so cool. Like I don't know. I like the duck one. I like the radish one. I liked it when all the little soot monsters were running around. I liked the big baby. I liked the soot spirits. Like, yeah, and then the guy with too many arms, he was cool. I liked it when basically the only thing I didn't like was the weird sexual tension that I read between the girl and like the young guy who was also a river. Like I don't like the spirit of the river and her like their weird sexual energy. I thought that was a little extra. But like
especially for being children.
Yeah, they're children, and like he's a river, so like it's never gonna happen. Look at those things.
A river spirit.
Look at those things. Why does his version of a river spirit look like a human that's sometimes a dragon, and the rest of them just look like like
Well,
that.
it's like, well, thing is, spirits can transform themselves into whatever they want.
Yeah.
And, Kuhaku, he wants to be a human, but when he's not in his human form, he is this massive dragon thing.
Yeah, and she's kind of into it.
Yeah, and she's like, hey.
I'll say my other things about this movie that I really liked were like I mean the voice acting is so good on this. Like I said, like Meg from Hercules, like you hear her voice and you're like, oh, like it's like immediately you're like, that's Meg from Hercules. Like she's got such a distinctive voice. I loved God, like I love like this kind of movie because it kind of like sprawls out in a way that you don't think of American films as like sprawling out. Like there's a lot of not side quests, but they become like the main part of the story. Like you just don't know where this story is going. You think, okay, she's got to save her parents, or like, she's got to save her parents. And then it's like, okay, well maybe she's just got to work here for a while and like save up money or like just help out. And then, oh no, maybe she's got to go like retrieve a scroll and then go to this other witch's house. And maybe then she's got to find out the real name of this dragon thing. And then maybe she's got to figure out what pig is her parents. And then maybe she's got to go home. And that's like the movie.
Yeah, it's a series of adventure. Her just end up tricking her way into working in the bathhouse in order to survive, and then also getting herself out of the bathhouse as well. And finding freedom. And there's this idea of, what is real and what is not real in this movie. There's this huge, obvious, fantastical element, not only with the spirits, but there's this idea of what is time? Like, was this all like a dream? Was it not? Was it real? Time clearly passed. By the end.
It's very funny because they're moving and they're talking about having to go and meet the movers in time. And then when they get out of there, like the parents don't think any time has passed, but there's like a lot of leaves in the car and stuff. And they're like, oh, it's all dusty. And I'm like, those movers have moved into your house and they are squatting there so hard. Like
it's Japan. There's a huge housing shortage.
I mean, I also want to talk about my favorite character of all time, No Face dude. The dude who's really lonely and he's a ghost and he's got to eat people to get their voices. And it's unclear at first what he wants. But it turns out it's to have a best friend who doesn't love him for his money, I guess.
Well, the thing is, No Face is very much a symbolic character, obviously. He is a situation that literally can make anything. He can make gold. He can make food. He can just give you whatever you want. But he has a hard time forming friendships. Actually, I have a few friends that are specifically have mentioned, they said, he's on the spectrum, and he mentioned he loves this movie because of No Face's character in particular, and kind of the way it incorporates that mindset. Yeah, I never even thought of that. Really cool.
Yeah, I really like No Face because he's a character that can't talk unless he's, he consumes you, and then he like can take your voice and like, talk through you, or like you sort of talk with your voice. But his normal voice his normal voice is just like a creature that's like can go like it just go like and sort of like he can't really vocalize words. Like it's like a very strange sound. Like he makes like word sighs, and like I don't know. There's something really beautiful about a character that like you can't really tell if this is a good guy or a bad guy. He kind of shows up, she invites him in out of the rain, and kind of shows up and he can like disappear and like, give her things, give her little objects, but she doesn't seem to like want anything from him the way that other people at the hotel, at the bathhouse seem to like want when he comes up with the gold, like, because she's got a lot of gold, I guess, because she cleaned out a sludge spirit and it turned out to be another river spirit, I think, that was sludge technically. There was a lot of sludge on him and then it smelled bad. And there's a lot of gold that he left around when she got this thing out of him. It was weird. Yeah,
again, there's a lot to dive into with this movie. As I know you kind of said some of your favorite characters. Were there any particular characters, not only just like you said, No Face and some of the spirits, are there any other characters that you loved?
I'm trying to think in terms of like love. I mean, it's just like I wanted every single one of these characters to have their own side story. I wanted to get like, these little toad things in the background that were like helping, or I guess they're not toads. I guess they're just like short people. I don't know what they are. Those little things are cute. I mean, just every time you saw like a wide shot of like all the spirits that were there, I was like, give me more of that story. I don't want any of this like side quest stuff. I don't want to find out about like her love of like a dragon river dragon. I just want to find out more about like the radish god. Like, what's his deal? Does he bring good luck? The slug thing, like the sludge monster, the frog dude. There was like, if you look at those wide shots of like them coming all over the river at the beginning, you're just like, what are these? It's like crazy Pokemon.
I feel like the bathhouse itself has a really interesting ecosystem of personalities. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's so many like personalities and everything. And I feel bad. I can't remember. One of my favorite characters actually is essentially the grandpa guy with the arms, where he warms up and preps like the bath salts, the herbs and stuff, and he like does it. Oh my gosh, I thought he was the creepiest character. But things I love him so much. And he like took her. He was the first character after Haku to really take a chance on her and to actively help her. And he lied for her, from the get-go. And especially in this kind of world where lying it has a huge impact. That's a really, really big deal. One of my other favorite characters is Bo. Bo, the big ass baby.
Was that one of the Rugrat voices? I feel like that was voiced by one of the Rugrat ladies.
To be honest, I don't. Yeah, it is actually Tara Strong. Tara Strong, Rugrats. Good call.
That's who Tara Strong is? That's just from Rugrats?
She voiced her. Yeah. It is.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm Tara Strong voiced Bo the baby. Yeah.
I know. I didn't know that Tara Strong was in this movie. I did not know Tara Strong was the chick from Rugrats, nor did I know that she voiced the baby. But I did know that, like, I just heard the voice in that baby voice, and I was like, that's the Rugrat lady. Somebody said Elsa. I don't know what that means. Elsa.
No, I mean, well, there's not a lot of like outside of Tara Strong, honestly, which is known for. She's not like a mainstream actress, but she is known for being arguably one of the most popular voice actors ever. She is obviously involved with it, but like Bo has such an interesting character evolution as well. Like starting off this spoiled, massive, annoying baby that cries at everything. See, dirt, remember? Say with the hand. It's
it doesn't like
mouse. And he ends up being transformed into a mouse that accompanies Chihiro to visit Zeniba, Yubaba's sister. And thank you. Thank you. I sorry if I was frozen there for a minute. With Zeniba, and you kind of realize that Bo is starting to thrive in this kind of environment where he's kind of learning things and he's not being told yes all the time. And he returns to Yubaba, and she returns to Yubaba as like, oh my gosh, and she's like, no, Mom, you need to calm the F down. Chihiro is my girl. And I was like, oh. Yes, thank you. What a great evolution of that character, though, like that side character that really didn't need any kind of extra, but it did. It got so much extra love and attention.
Yeah. I also love the 3 heads.
Boom, boom, yeah.
Boom, boom.
Where they just roll around, boom, and they're just roll around.
Yeah, and I liked it when the 3 heads were for a while. The 3 heads got to be a baby for a little while. Like they got transformed into the baby, and they were eating all the food, and they were so happy. And then they were she was like, wait a second, and she did the spell, and she's like, that's not my baby. That's 3 giant heads on top of each other. And they were like, whoops, and they were like, bump, 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 and they got the door handle and bounced out of there. That's the baby as a mouse.
Oh my gosh! When my brother and I, we used to be yes, those are the soot spirits. In particular, my brother and I used to be obsessed with this movie when we were little, and my brother actually wants to get matching tattoos of the turnip spirit.
Yes, I would do that with you guys. You guys want to do that?
He literally does. I swear, at least once a month, I get a text from him, and he's like, "Hey, Alex, is today the day we're gonna get matching turnip spirit tattoos?"
Yo, and that's a good idea. Your brother has a great idea on him. That's where would you get it? Where would you get the turnip spirit?
Well, that's the thing. That's something where I'm I love the idea, but I know realistically, I'm such a baby. No pun intended, but I also like, I love the character so much, but at the same time, like I have no desire to have turnip spirit tattooed on my body personally. But if I were to get it, it would probably be like a little one, with his arms in the air, like on my hip or something.
There's no such thing as a little version of the spirit. That's it. That's the spirit. Guys, this is what Alex is going to get tattooed, a little version on her hip. Like, it's a little, if I think it was little, it would look worse. Like, I'll just be honest, a little version of this would look really freaky, but a big version of this,
like, I wouldn't want a big one.
Like, you get this your entire back tattooed, I think that'd be really cool.
Oh, yes. Okay, sure then. Yeah, noted. Back tattoo of turnip spirit. There's so much attention to the 3 heads are really, really cool. There's so much attention to detail in these random side spirits, gods, creatures. So much detail, not only with the aesthetics, but the sounds that they make and heck, their names. It's just like, and like the turnip spirit, he doesn't even talk. He just like looks at you and like breathes deeply without being creepy. Yeah, and it's like.
Wow. Yeah, but he has like tusks or something. Like, it's like a walrus. I don't know why he's a radish. Like, he looks like a walrus.
And he like protects her at some point.
Is that what a turnip looks like? Is that what they think a turnip looks like? Is that what a turnip looks like? I forget what turnip looks like.
Turnip. I gotta look it up now. I gotta look up what a turnip looks like.
Does it look like that?
No. Well, no-ish. Kinda. Oh wait, okay. I see turnips that are both yellow and purple, so I'm not sure if they're types of turnips.
Like they're tubers. So, what was this like the reception to this movie when it was like first came out? Did people like immediately love it? As you said, like it won an Oscar. But
well, that's something I did kind of want to mention specifically is that this movie, Studio Ghibli, is by far a lot of people say it's like a Japanese version of Disney.
That's what I was hearing.
Yeah, that's what I remember hearing that a lot growing up when I was first told about Studio Ghibli, but I also find that not so much offensive, but I feel like it's just not true. Because Studio Ghibli has a very consistent aesthetic, but they also have they're very consistent in terms of themes and characters. And there are also dominantly all from the same world as well. It's like the Ghibli verse. It's the Ghibli verse is a very real thing.
That was my question. Is this the same shared universe as Totoro? And Eric was like, no. And I was like, prove it. Like, does a character come out and say, like, no, Totoro doesn't exist here? Like, I don't know. Like, they could have a Totoro there. How could they not have a Totoro there? Like, that exists in the same world. I don't believe that it doesn't.
Well, they're actually over in Japan. They're also building a Studio Ghibli theme park, essentially.
What?
And that's something I would love to go to. It's like being built it's like it was just started being built, or was completed being built. But oh my gosh, that's something I would love to go see.
Like, can you imagine like eating the food there? Like, you would just be like, worried.
It's probably all vegetarian.
I mean, when the parents started eating the food, I was like, oh, there's ish. And I went into this movie assuming that Eric had seen it, like NerdChronic had seen it. So like when the parents started eating the food, I was like, this seems like a little gross. And he's like, well, you can never just tell. Like, this is sometimes an anime thing. Is just like people get really hungry and like people really want to eat food like really quickly. And like that is an anime thing as far as I can tell. But like I was like, no, there's something weird about like the parents just showing up and being like, let me eat everything on the table. Like that's gross.
Well, that scene in particular is a very interesting scene because that scene is not only referring to her parents. It's something that I feel like a lot of people do. I think it's a very human thing to do. We see something, we're like, hey, we'll pay for it as long as we can eat it, and we kind of we try to take control over it, even though or try to take it or buy it even without asking sometimes. And and these people are, like I said, I mean, they think it's a theme park. They're tourists essentially, and their mindset going into this place, and they literally be like, hey, the literal line is, we have credit cards and cash.
Yeah.
We can eat all of this and we'll be fine. And there's, oh my gosh, that scene right there. Yeah. He's got credit cards and cash. There's a scene where he like slurps up that big thing, whatever that is. And he's like one massive hoagie thing. And he just inhales it.
Yeah. That's Michael Chiklis, by the way.
It's what?
It's Michael Chiklis from what's the name of The Shield and Gotham. And
I have no idea who that is.
Michael Chiklis. He was in he's got big brown hair.
Oh,
yeah. And the mom was Lauren Holly from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying we should see Goku. I don't know what Goku is.
Shut the front door. What?
What's Goku?
Oh my gosh.
What's Goku?
I need to look up these people now. I never thought about I don't know. Goku is a character from DBZ, Dragon Ball Z. It's like the main character. Yeah. So Goku is like by far one of the most iconic characters in anime history.
Well, what when you saw this movie for the first time, you were talking a little bit about how like what an impact this made on you. Like what was your reaction after having seen this movie? Like, were you immediately freaking out or?
Well, I saw this for the first time, just casually picking it up. It was not my favorite. It was not my first Studio Ghibli movie. My first Studio Ghibli movie was actually Princess Mononoke. And I was maybe 7 or 8, and I saw with my brother and some of his friends, and I loved it. I was really into the anime at the time, DBZ, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that good stuff. I was really, really into anime, and I also just started watching Cowboy Bebop, Gundam Wing. Anyway, but off topic. But I was floored by this aesthetic of Studio Ghibli. And like I said, Studio Ghibli is very, very consistent with this aesthetic. They keep a lot of the same animators, a lot of the same directors. Hayao Miyazaki's directed like 10 of the Studio Ghibli movies total. It's bonkers. And it shows very much so. That's Goku, by the way.
Oh my God, it's Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa. Me and Bailey Sky. What up?
And but yeah, so my first so when I saw that, it was my first Ghibli movie, but the thing is, it was my first children's Ghibli film, because I saw this and I saw Nausicaa, Winds of the Valley, and so I saw this and I was floored. I expected a real darkness to the film, which I got. I did not expect how light it was, how childlike it was.
For a child working in a bathhouse, like full of spirits and turnip gods and stuff, it's surprisingly a lighthearted feature that does not involve any sort of weirdly sexual undertones, unless you're me and I read that and everything.
I think that could also just be the American in you, because again, like I said, a lot of people, when they saw this for the first time, they thought it was referring to sex trafficking. They thought it was referring.
I found sexy. Not sexy. That wasn't like
I actually brought up her. What is this like relationship, like potential relationship with her in Haku? What is that?
That part that creeped me out. I was like, that's because she's supposed to be in love with him. Like, you can't deny that that's like not a cultural thing. I mean, she's like, I'm in love with you, and he's like, I'm a river, and like that's weird.
Literally a river spirit.
True love can break the spell, and you're like, yes, the true love between an 8-year-old girl and her river. Like that's weird.
She fell into a river and almost died, and he rescued her.
Because he's the water? Bruh. When
you put it like that.
Bruh, that's weird.
Oh my gosh, we gotta clip that out. The water, bruh.
Bruh, the water, bruh. Like, it's weird. You can't fall in love with a river. You can fall into a river. She can't fall in love with it. It's different.
Now, I do think I know we're going to talk about we talked about some of the characters. I don't think we need to really kind of focus on the scripts or anything all that much, just because it's great. Yeah, well, the thing is, Studio Ghibli movies in particular, Hayao Miyazaki actually specifically, he never makes scripts from the get-go.
Wait, how's he do it then? Because like people can't just animate nothing.
let me start off with. Okay, here obviously, well, not here, but in Hollywood, obviously, the first thing you have, you start with the script, and then you whip out the storyboards. You get some people involved. Sometimes you do like a test shoot. You figure things out from there, and you sell it to a studio, and things happen. Maybe if you're lucky, right? How Miyazaki did, he does this with all of his movies. Is that he just pretty much he starts drawing and he creates storyboards first, not knowing where it's going to go, not knowing about the characters or anything. He just draws storyboards of things that kind of interest him, and it just evolves. And they start animating it essentially, and then apparently later in they add script. Mm-hmm. They don't add script until significantly later.
That's such an interesting way of doing it, because like you would think, I mean, that's kind of, I guess it's more like how, like, I guess video games have to be developed, which is like the idea that like you animate. It's almost like you animate first and then you script it in later. I mean, that's, I guess that can work. Yeah. Again, I don't know that much about the animations process or like what it means to draw from cell to cell, but.
Yeah, this is very unique to Hayao Miyazaki. This is very unique to Studio Ghibli, and I don't think this is like actually doable realistically for any other animation studio or any other director. This is such a unique process that's so unique to him. But I do think where Studio Ghibli films, I mean, a lot of their scripts is great. They're funny, they're lovely and everything. But I think the scripts are never where Studio Ghibli shines because they're so simple. They're written, these are children's movies and with a lot of dark themes, but they are meant to be very easy to digest overall. And a lot of the darkness is like that adults really are able to really acknowledge, or a lot of times are more in the visuals rather than the scripts specifically.
Yeah, like how things feel to be a child. Like things feel a certain way, and it's not about like the words or the language you use. Except, don't say you're falling in love with a spirit, whatever. Okay, whatever, bro. Whatever, bro. Do you? I guess it just feels weird. Because then, you know why? Because then, if she can be in love with the river, then it does turn the idea of the bathhouse into like a weirdly sexual thing. Because if the spirits can love the humans and the humans can love the spirits, and that can be a dynamic. Then like, I don't know, like then the whole thing is open up to like, yeah, she could have been, that turnip could have been trying to like fuck her. Like, I don't know.
Oh man, don't go there with me. No, I'm not.
Just saying, like, it's apparently not off the table for spirits to be in love with children.
Well, these spirits, they have a wide range of emotions, right? You know, they have everything. They can be dicks to them. They can be nice to them. They can take advantage of them. They can trick them. Why can't they hypothetically love them as well, or be attracted to them?
Can you imagine like being like the human wife of that sludge creature, or like this, you know, when like No Face gets like mad about shit, and you're just like, honey, calm down, and it's like, no, I'm hungry. That's like me in the morning. Straight up. That is me first thing in the morning. Whenever I get hungry, I'm just like, nom, 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 nom.
I think that's just very human, if anything.
Like, fair enough.
He's gonna be all the time for that. He's just like, Alex, are you angry or are you like just hungry? Like, honestly. And I'm like, shut up. And I'm like, shut up. Shut up. And I'm hungry. And I feel a million times better once I eat something.
Yeah, hangry.
The hangry feeling is real, very real. I do kind of want to ask you specifically, now that you saw this was your second Studio Ghibli movie, right?
Yes.
Are you excited to dive into some of the other Studio Ghibli movies? Or is there one particularly you're excited about? Or
like, honestly, I'm excited. Like I just saw because I thought I pulled it out for this movie, and it turns out it was the wrong one. I had Kiki's Delivery Service. Yeah, so I got that one.
Kiki's Delivery Service.
And I have Howl's Moving Castle. It's not Howard. That's some other guy. This is Howl's. Now, I don't understand how these movies are not all related. Like, to me, this all has to exist in the same universe. Yeah. If not the same universe of the movies, it has to exist. And again, like, I don't know this much about the culture, so like maybe I'm speaking on my ass here. It feels like it all has to exist in the same understanding universe of like, this is how people in Japan like consider entities or like gods, or like this has to be some sort of shared language, because Totoro and like this just seem like they're just connected in some weird way. Like, it just kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like it seems like it's from the same mythology or the same lore. And so if it's not just from the culture, then it has to be just like in this one guy's head that these are all connected headcanon things. Like I can't imagine that Howl's Moving Castle won't seem like it could exist in the same universe as this movie. Like how could it do anything besides say Totoro isn't a guy here, which would prove that Totoro is a guy somewhere else. Like there's no way for them to disprove that this is the same universe.
You know, honestly, kind of thinking about it, I can picture like two different worlds within Studio Ghibli. One where it is much more based in reality.
Like what?
Like this one where it is like there is this
reality?
No, I mean like let me where there is this world where humans live and they're driving cars and they're moving into new houses and they accidentally just happen to come across a passageway to a bathhouse for gods and spirits, and you know things happen, and those could be like it's almost like this world within another world. This fantasy spiritual world that humans just cannot see because that's just not, we can't. It's just not, you know, we just don't have the abilities to. And I can honestly see that thought process being, if you kind of think about it that way, those are just two different worlds within Ghibli, because there are some worlds such as Kiki's Delivery Service where humans and airplanes and the link thingies, whatever they're called, you know, coincide with witches that are hanging out on brooms and they make curses and love potions and stuff.
Because she's a witch. The person who runs the bathhouse is a witch. She's a witch.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, like you'll see it, and it's like, and it's one thing is in one, the magic is in Spirited Away. That magic is not really acknowledged in the real world. In Kiki's Delivery Service, it is acknowledged.
Really?
It's beloved. It's beloved. Yes. It's not something it's like something like every town has like a village witch. It's a thing.
Wow. Okay, so that is different. So there's like a world in which humans recognize things differently.
Exactly. And you'll see even in Howl's Moving Castle, it's very, very similar. There's this combination of machinery and witches and wizards and creatures, wizards turning into birds. It's weird. It's funky. You'll see it. You'll love it. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So I want to see Ponyo. I want to see Ponyo too. Like, I want to see that one.
To me personally, that's the weakest one. I would love to see you watch Pocoroso.
What's that one?
So, sorry, not Pocoroso. It's a Pompoko. Let me double check. Yeah, Pompoko.
I need to show you something real quick. I just put this because I had a good idea to go look on Reddit for Spirited Away, and I found something. Yeah. And I want you to take a look at them and tell me whether or not this is like the best idea. Hold on.
No, I'm terrified. I already regret this.
Those are like, okay, so she made the little soot monsters out of the nail.
I want it so bad.
Hold on, let me show you the wrong scene. Hold on, it's so cute. I want to give it to badly. Hold on. Here we go. Wait, that's the wrong thing. That was the radish guy again. Sorry for the radish guy. It's the other thing. It's I'm like trying to open too many tabs at once here. Here we go. Ate this one. I think that's it. Yeah. There we go. Look at the nails. Look at the little guys. Look at the little
stars. Oh my gosh, you can see the little stars. You can see the little sugar stars.
Little soot monsters. I love it so much. Like, I want to now just like go on Reddit and like, because the imagery of this movie is so great. Like, it is just phenomenal.
It is. I absolutely agree. It's by far there's a lot of talk about, you know, a lot of people have favorites. Like, what is their favorite Ghibli movie? Whether it be Howl's Moving Castle, this movie, Kiki's Delivery Service, Grave of the Fireflies. Oh my gosh, if you want a day to just bawl your eyes out, that's what you watch.
I don't want to watch. I don't want to cry anymore. I'm crying too much lately. What is it?
It's Grave of the Fireflies is one of the first Ghibli movies under the Ghibli name that they made. And it's actually set on these two children, a brother and a very young sister. One is like 9 years old and his sister is like 4. And it's pretty much them trying to survive after Hiroshima.
Oh my God, no. Wait, really?
Yes. It's literally them trying to survive, them trying to figure out how to eat. and their children, their parents die, everything around it. There's visuals of the explosions. And death is around them everywhere. The imagery is terrifying. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful movie. It's very hard to watch though. Thing is, okay, but I feel like it's very I feel like everyone has different favorites. However, almost unanimously, everyone I know has mentioned this is by far the most beautiful film.
Yeah.
Of the Ghibli filmography.
This one, I mean, it's gorgeous. I also just like, I love the idea of this. Like, I would love like a world where we get to explore these guys some more and we just hang out with them and we hang out with the radish god and like, or
we gotta go to Japan to the Ghibli theme park.
I want to hang out with the sludge god. I want to hang out with No Face. I want to hang out with like, first of all, I love that his name is No Face because he wears a mask, but that's not even where his face is. His face is where his mouth is, which is like below the mask. So we're not even like talking to his face. We're just talking to like his hairline or something where we think his face is.
We're talking to a person who literally is It's like the literal embodiment of masking.
What's masking?
Pretty much what?
What is masking?
Masking is essentially when you copy someone else, specifically in terms of emotions. So masking is actually more commonly associated with people that are actually on the spectrum. Because sometimes they might feel, in order to fit in easier or to engage with other people, they'll do masking. So they take characteristics of people they see and take it as their own and pretty much act like them.
Okay.
And so literally what he's doing, so they're acting like some other person. And people that mask, it's actually taught for women in particular that are actually on the spectrum. They're actually much more efficient at masking more than men, supposedly. Just because like women are just taught to mask earlier on, because women are actually significant, even if they're on the spectrum, they get diagnosed significantly later in life compared to men. That's a whole other conversation though. Conversation. I do kind of want to talk about specifically about
one second.
Far too long. That may well change after watching this show.
Oh, thank you, Weston. Weston just said, I grew up on this movie. I haven't seen it in far too long. This may change after watching this show. Good stuff. Thank you, Weston. Yeah, this is a great movie. This is like one of these movies that, for real, like I'm so glad that I saw. Like I'm just so glad that I saw this movie. Because it made me cry. I was sobbing by the end, but I've just been in a sobby mood all day. I've been a little sloppy attack all day.
This movie really brings it out of you. Well, speaking of which, though, I do want to ask you, like you said, it's like I mentioned earlier, it is obviously a movie made for children, but what were some of the darker themes that you really kind of picked up on?
Well, the sexualizing of demon spirits and children was like weird to me, but but other than that, I mean, like the whole idea of like, there's a lot of contract stuff in this that you would find like, it's sort of like a children's fable kind of thing, but the idea of like, like your word being as good in your bond, like losing your name. I remember when I was a kid, I really liked Neverending Story Part 2, the second one, where like Sebastian, like his whole thing was, or Bastian's whole thing was, like he gave away a memory for every wish that he made. And so he like, for one part, like kid did not wish for an entire set of stairs, like set of stairs to get to like one place. He wished for my dude wished for every individual step and like used another memory to like make a wish. And like at one point, like they were like, your mom would be proud of you because it's got a dead mom. And he's like, my who? And it's like, oh man, he forgot like what a mom was. And he's like, yeah, you also forgot you could have just made like one wish and gotten all the stairs. But like I love the idea of that kind of like trade. It's a dark theme that that you could forget your name, you could forget where you came from, you could forget who your parents were. She has a big fear of like forgetting, and I think that's something we all kind of live with. This fear of forgetting our loved ones. I mean, I haven't seen my family in almost a whole year now. Like, and it's hard. like to be like, I don't remember exactly what my mom's face looks like, or like I forget how like what it smells like in our house or anything. All these little things just start moving away from you, and that's a dark idea because we don't know how long she's been gone for, and by the time that we return, we have no sense of like how long it's been. It could have been like a couple of days, it could have been like a month or two, they could have been gone for like a year. Like you just don't have any idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that is a very real fear for anyone, especially with the idea of dying and the idea of being forgotten by loved ones, friends, family. I feel like that could be a fear for, I don't want to say everyone, but pretty darn close.
Yeah,
for sure. I also think that there's a real darkness in tone to a lot of the characters, such as Yubaba in particular. She pretty much she runs this bathhouse. She's the big mama. She was the one with the crazy big eyes. She's a witch. And she's the one that tricks these people into giving up their memory, their namesakes, in order that forces them to stay, essentially.
But she's not quite evil. She's not evil in the way that we think of traditional like negative things being like evil. Like she's not pure evil, is what I mean to say. Like she's got some. Absolutely. We see her acting positively in some scenes, and like we see that her sister, she's got a twin sister who originally appears like the bad guy, but she is also not evil.
Is anybody? Yeah. It's clear that she's not like a full-on evil character. She's clearly the antagonist of this film, but she is made specifically to be a darker character. She, compared to a lot of the lighter tones and the bright colors in this movie, she's in an office that's very dark, full of darker colors, navies, purples, and dark reds, greens. And she's constantly covered in jewels and everywhere. You just saw her nose is literally the size of her head. I mean, like of Chihiro's body. It's massive. And there's this, I think there's this real also like fear of women in particular being in control for a lot of people. And I'm not saying that's what Howl is like trying to push, but there's this idea that a lot of women have a hard time helping other women like lift each other up, essentially. I mean, let's face it. I mean, like, unfortunately, women are put against each other in a lot of situations. Yeah,
I mean, it was kind of like cute that like the Meg from Hercules ended up like helping her out, because like it did kind of feel like, I mean, it is interesting. It never crossed my mind until we started talking that was like, that the bathhouse was supposed to be more than just like the place that she was sent for indentured servitude, but it does kind of like have this weird Western. I mean, like I'm interested to see if this like was the intention, if there was anything. Did the director ever speak out on this about like whether this was supposed to have some sort of weird connotation?
He actually did acknowledge them, and he said that was never the case. He said that was more of a cultural misunderstanding and what the different definitions of like bathhouses and bath culture, essentially.
Gotcha.
So very different definition. In Japan in particular, bathhouses are a family environment. You go there with you're separated by gender, obviously, different spaces.
It's fathers
go with their sons. I mean, daughters go with their daughters. Generations of women, they just like wash each other, do each other's hair. You guys soak in sauna area and everything. It's like a whole family affair.
No, it's like it's you, your spirit river husband, and your radish child, and you all have like a big family, and you go to the thing. No, I mean it's silly. The idea too that like the humans are turned into pigs if they eat the human food, if they eat the spirit food, but then she's supposed to eat this magic food. This like at one point the dude hands her some food. He's like, look, I made this food all magic for you, so eat it, like because it's magic. It'll give you your strength back. And I was like, don't eat it. Don't eat food that has been magic.
It's a very specific thing. It's actually I can't remember what it's called. I remember looking it up, but it's specific to Japanese culture, where it's actually used today, specifically where how it looks like a ball of mud. It's
No, not that
not.
thing. Not that thing. I'm talking about the rice ball that he magics up for her. Like he has her drink, eat a rice ball to get her strength back. And I'm like, don't eat food that's been magicked. That's like a guy being like, here, I got you a drink. I put some magic on it, like in the bar. Like that's like, it just feels like a bad idea.
Yeah,
I don't know how the magic works, but yeah.
Yeah, there is the idea that we don't want to be poisoned and everything. I feel like it's kind of a trick question. The scene in particular where she is trying to go to the boiler room and she has to run down the stairs or around the
oh my god, yes, she planks right into
I remember like, and she ends up like running and I'm like, oh my gosh. And she like starts by like hopping and she ends up being like blown in the wind and she ends up like running and I'm like, and she like smacks right into the wall.
Yeah, I would say like my bold take for this movie, if I had to have one, is that like this is not one of those children's films that's like not for children. This obviously can be for children, but like it's going to really, really like upset them. Like there's some things in this that like I can't think of one piece of imagery in this that isn't slightly disturbing. Like if not like mildly, like it's all beautiful and it's all gorgeous, but like looking at them as a child, I can't imagine like one cell from this movie that I wouldn't have a nightmare from.
I disagree. I loved this movie when it came out, but the thing is, I do think you can't. I don't know if you maybe being like a 4-year-old watching it, but I saw this for the first time when I was like 11 years old when it first came out.
That's a fine age. That's
I feel like that. Yeah, so like 8, 10 around that age, very, very doable. Like you said, there are going to be some images and some. That might be very intimidating.
It's so scary. Like the fact that guy goes from being like this ghost, like which sort of has a sweet face, to being this horrifying like tick creature. Mm-hmm. It's just really scary.
Yeah.
Remember the ducks though? When the ducks were in the back?
To associate some of these. Yeah. Well, we're kind of taught to associate unusual shapes, colors, things as like an other, like something's wrong with it if it looks weird. And this, I mean, like not for everything, but like if we see like a carrot, for example, that's like unusually shaped, we're kind of coded to think, well, that's not a good carrot. It doesn't look like the carrots I'm supposed to eat. It looks like it might be low-key rotten or poisonous or something, because why would it grow like that? That's not a good carrot, but there's this kind of idea that watching this movie, everything is intentionally disjointed. Everything is drawn really funky and exaggerated.
Yeah, like that.
Like him. He looks like a spider.
He looks like a spider. He ain't a spider. My dude is like, and by the way, even if he was a spider, my dude's cool. Like, I want to go back to that the radish guy. I want to go back to the turnip. He is a turnip. Is it? It's a red. No, it's a radish. It's a radish. Sorry.
It's a radish.
I want to go back to my radish dude for a second because I want to point out what someone's saying on Reddit, which is like the most beautiful thing in the world. And again, like I hate that I'm like looking at Reddit to be like, what's up with Spirited Away? But I also feel like that's when Reddit's really good at stuff, is like, just tell me about Spirited Away, Reddit. Nothing else. Don't tell me anything else. Just your thoughts on Spirited Away. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong image. Sorry. Let me get back here. It's like, I don't want to hear what they have to say about anything except my Twin Peaks nails and Spirited Away. But like, look what this guy's saying, which is, not sure if you can read it. He says, in Spirited Away, the radish spirit rides past his floor so Chihiro doesn't have to travel to the bathhouse alone. I guess someone figured out like what floor he was going to, and that he goes past that floor so she doesn't have to go alone through the bathhouse.
Like that. Whoever, like, but that's it. Yeah. He's just rad. He's just a good guy, you know?
I guess he's a radish. I thought that was cute. Anyway. That's like the first 20 comments of people being like, he's rad-ish. Amazing. No, but I really like. I truly enjoyed this movie.
Yeah,
I feel like this movie's really got a lot to say. Yeah, truly about like what it means to be like other, what it means to be a different person, or like to feel like another type. Like, because nothing in the movie that looks scary ends up being scary. Like none of the creatures are malicious. Yeah. Like even the creatures that act poorly, like the no face guy, he's not like malicious. Like he's a good creature that like goes crazy in a bathhouse, because don't we all go crazy in our spirit bathhouse? But like none of the creatures, even like the witch at the end of the day, is not like malicious. She's got like a bad attitude. I would say she's got like some grumpiness to her, but she ain't bad.
Well, she's not actively trying to put them in a bad situation, but she is flat out. She's flat out. She's like, hey, you came to me. This is what you got to do. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. And
she wants a job.
Yeah, she has. This is what you got to do. This is your job here. And I can't. You can't be like, oh, woe is she? She has to work. She's working. She's cleaning these bathhouses, and it's a very hard job. It's a very labor-intensive job, obviously, but it's a job.
Here's my question.
And she gets a lot better. Her morale. She's less spoiled. She's less annoying. Her work ethic, obviously, is improved.
Big baby, that she loves a lot. Her twin sister, who we haven't talked about that much about, the twin sister is sort of evil because she's a bunch of paper cranes that follow back the kid because he stole a scroll and he's a dragon now. This movie is all over the place, but originally, like, he's getting fatally ill, so she has to go return. She thinks she has to go return the scroll and save his life. Turns out just the true love between a girl and her river demon. My God, I never saw he had a tail. What the hell? That's so cute. Yeah. Look at that little butt. Yeah.
Can we just focus on those I can't remember. Is he into cupping? Are those like just markings from being?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I was cuffing, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, you're right. It might be cupping. He might be cupping or something.
Cupping. I've never done cupping. I almost did, but it looked scary.
Yeah, I don't need any more markings on my body besides the ink tattoos I currently have. I will say that, like, I want to know more about their monetary system. Like, why are they so into like using the gold standard? Like, what are they even doing? Like, they're spirits. Why do they like love jewels so much? Like, I like that idea, but I just want to explore it more, like in an ongoing series, maybe. Like, want to know why they're so like nomming gold. What are they gonna do with it?
I would love to see a reality show based in this bathhouse.
Yes, I would love this to be a reality show as well, because I would love this to be reality.
Yeah, like it would still have to be animated and everything, of course, but I would love to get something like The Office set in this bathhouse.
It's like gonna be like the new Zootopia TV show that they're doing for Disney Plus, which is like they're doing Zootopia, but as a bunch of different reality shows that exist in the world of Zootopia. So it's like Zootopia Plus, like it's on Disney Plus, but it's gonna be called Zootopia Plus, like it's like their version of Disney Plus, and they have like the real house sloths of whatever that city's called. Like, I think that's a really fun idea. Yeah, I'd like to see that. But I'd also like this to exist because it would just mean that this is reality and this is how things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, oh my gosh, I would love that. I would love to see that happen. Okay, we should probably kind of move on to one of our next segments, is how it holds up. We've already kind of talked about how it kind of holds up, for adults versus children and everything. But I kind of want to know, this is your second Studio Ghibli movie, you said, right? Second. Okay. This movie was released in 2001. How does it hold up compared to a lot of other animated films to you?
Well, like, what else was coming out around 2001? Was this like around The Princess and the Frog,
No,
Mulan period?
Later.
I mean, the animation's amazing. I mean, no one's going to fault this movie for animations. How this holds up to other movies I saw in 2001. I mean, 2001 was like a great, that's around the time that like movies got really good for me. Like, I feel like that's like the Mulholland Drive, the Donnie Darko,
we had Monsters Inc., we had Shrek, we had Osmosis Jones.
Oh yeah, this is better than all of
them. The movie.
We
had Monkey Bone.
Wait, Monkey Bone. Well, don't get me started on Monkey Bone. No. Monkey Bone's terrible. I would say that like Monsters Inc. made me cry a lot. Like that was like I think the last movie that like I was like openly not only like openly weeping in the theater, but like I cried so hard in that movie just because like yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Monsters Inc. is actually my favorite Pixar movie to date. Honestly, personally, I know that's a hot take. It's just my favorite. But did you catch the Pixar reference in the movie?
No, what was that?
Do you remember on the way to the Zeniba, the big lamp that bounced?
There's a lamp. No, but that's cute. Is that supposed to be the thing?
Yeah. It was actually supposed to be a reference because how Miyazaki, he actually loves Pixar movies, and also this was I believe it was the first movie that, because Disney at the time, they didn't really collaborate on the movie obviously, but they collaborated for distribution, and that was working with Disney. It was the reason why this movie was actually released in the US the way it did.
That's pretty cool. Like,
yeah.
no, I've met this movie.
The big lamp thing that took him over to Zeniba's house was reference to the lamp thing.
Oh, that thing. Oh my god, I didn't even catch that. There were parts of this movie I just sort of like, God, this movie's so cute. I love that, like, she made these friends along the way. I mean, who doesn't love a movie that's sort of like an open universe kind of idea? Like, there's no good guys, there's no bad guys. You're just interacting with a bunch of, like, entities that, like, have different personality quirks. And, like, I don't know, like, the truth is sort of up to you to, like, make your own version of, like, the story. Like, it's very felt like open universe stuff right now.
Not to mention but there are certain things that go a long way. The idea of being polite, being genuine, and overall just being nice, and how far that kind of takes you, honestly, and just being in attractions. Like, you don't have to do these grand gestures of being awesome, but you can just be nice to someone in these very small ways, and that really holds the F up.
Yeah, I think that's a gorgeous way of putting it. So, I mean, any of the other big total takeaways? How did it hold up to you after seeing it after all these years?
For me, this movie, it does. I mean, it holds the heck up more so now than before, just because I think I'm just much more aware of other animated movies and styles. And it just makes me realize more and more, just appreciate Studio Ghibli and this movie in particular so much more than before. The animation style, the effort it takes to make a movie, because they release a movie like every 2 or 3 years, because it's a very small studio. They have like less than 50 people total.
Wow, really? So those people just like
it's like the same group of people for every single movie. The same people,
only
almost
50 animators?
Yeah, a lot of the same animators. It's crazy. It's such a unique situation that's not really duplicated anywhere else that I know about. Yeah, it's like I said, Miyazaki, he made like 10 of the Studio Ghibli movies, and his son ended up making like 2 or 3 of them after, when he retired.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And you kind of saw after Hayao Miyazaki, he kind of left, they ended up taking not so much they continued in taking a much more normal tone. There's not as much escapism, there's not so much focus on the magic. There's more adults, like Only Yesterday, Up on Poppy Hill. I'm completely spacing on the other ones.
I didn't know that, like, he did. The studio continued to do movies without him, that he's not the director anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's like 85, 89 or something now. He's like crazy old. But his son had directed a few. But yeah, so unfortunately to date, I feel like none of the other movies really caught the same magic that Spirited Away did. By comparison, because this is the only one, in spite of like a few other nominations, this is the only one to ever win an Oscar.
That's so nuts. I mean, these movies, like, they all seem like Totoro. I got my sister a Totoro backpack once. It's so cute. Like, it's the cutest freaking thing in the world.
Cute. Like, how? Like, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Like when you describe the plot, when you describe these plots to people, it shouldn't make sense. It sounds like you're high, you know?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're high on something awesome. Oh, wow. Vernon, thank you for your donation. Vernon donated $50 in the chat. Oh, that's awesome, Vernon.
Thank you, Vernon.
Nice to see you, Vernon. Unfortunately, I do think that sort of wraps things up. I'm like getting a little bit of a nosebleed, which is always fun to do on air. But I do have a movie I think that we're going to do for next week. I'm double checking to confirm that our guest is available for it. But I do think we can do this movie. So next week's film, let's see, will be Hold on, where is it? Next week's movie is, I think we're gonna be doing Blazing Saddles, as one of our Patreon movies, which I know is not a movie that you've ever seen, Alex. That's gonna be a new one for you.
Yes, I actually have seen it.
Oh, you have seen it?
I haven't seen it since early college.
Okay.
Though I remember seeing it with my dad.
Well, I've never seen the whole movie. I've seen parts of it. I've never seen the whole film, so I'm really excited to watch.
There's a lot to dive into this movie. Oh my gosh! I think we can say that a lot of Mel Brooks movies.
Yeah, I mean, I love Mel Brooks, but I've not seen the entirety of Blazing Saddles. I know it's confusing, but so that's going to be hopefully a patron will be joining us to discuss this movie. Other than that, I'm like trying to like not just stifle my nose. Other than that, Alex, do you got anything to plug for this week?
I'm attempting to solidify plans for Schmoebates for tomorrow. So wish me luck. Schmoebates tomorrow is going to be themed on the award show that's going to be happening this weekend. So it's going to be so much fun, obviously. And we have Frank Janish coming on. We have Mara as our judge. And yeah, it's going to be a fun time. And also, you know, like I mentioned, I'm being part of the Call to Action podcast. So definitely check us out over there if you're not familiar.
Nice. And yeah, we're gonna be a podcast soon, which it's gonna be exciting. But we're working on a couple of things over on Cinema Bias. You can catch me on my channel, so please like and subscribe if you like this video. Please leave a comment, do all the fun stuff. I have a Patreon that you can join. It's patreon.com/VideoDrew. We're kind of changing up the tiers a little bit pretty soon to be like a little bit more accessible for people at the lower tier levels. Just coming in, just want to come in and do fun stuff. Like tomorrow, we have study sessions starting at 6 p.m. where you come in and help me train for the Schmoedown this next season. You can also catch me on Mondays and oh god, I brain dead for a second. Mondays and Thursdays at Cinema Bias. Mondays and Thursdays over at VideoChronic, which is the quiz show that me and NerdChronic run right here on this channel. That's at now 8 p.m. We just changed the time around. And then on Sundays, you can catch me here at 9 p.m. doing Live in the Dark with VideoDrew. And we have a very special guest, Beth May, joining me this Sunday. And then for our quiz tomorrow, on Thursday, what is wrong with my brain? The quiz we're doing on Thursday is, oh my god, NerdChronic, help me out. My brain just froze again. We're doing, it's a really good one. Oh, what we do in the shadows.
Oh my gosh. I saw that. I want to participate in that so bad.
Okay, you're in.
I can't though. I can't.
No, it's on Thursday. It's on Thursday. It's Thursday, Alex. It's Thursday.
I should be able to do it then.
Okay. Yeah, that's when our quizzes are. They're on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. now. So check it out. What we do in the shadows.
I thought it was tomorrow. And I don't know.
No, tomorrow's the study sessions. You can also catch me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/VideoDrew. Also check out this new series that I'm writing for Rotten Tomatoes called, there's two of them. There's The Catch Up, which is like a new bi-weekly show that I'm writing that you can find on any of their social media platforms. There's like a little news review show. And then you can also catch me writing for their show, RT Essentials, which is on Peacock. Mark Ellis is the host of that. So if you check that out, I've written the latest episode and it's really cool. So yeah, check all that stuff out. Other than that, have a good week, guys. Stay safe. I know Alex likes to say, wear a mask. Okay. See you later, guys.
Hello. Hold on.
Hello.
Hello.